It's my feel-good breakfast show.
So we know that masks are obviously now mandatory, and it looks like at least that we'll be in them for the foreseeable future. Wearing them to the shops, that's one thing, but exercising with a mask on is an entirely different prospect. Even though a mask won't actually stop you from contracting COVID-19, it acts as an added layer of protection to stop you from passing it on to anyone else. And that's important if you're out walking, running or cycling. Our firm favourite Dr. Michael Mole joins us this morning to tell us a bit more about exercising and wearing your COVID-19 face mask. Very good morning, Mike. How are you doing, buddy?
Graham, always good, man. Good to see you again. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been far too long. I see we're both growing a nice quarantine lockdown beard and hair. Got to do it.
That's true. I'm not going to try and cut my own hair, that's for sure.
I'm getting close to that point. Of course, the beard feels good underneath a mask. We know we have to wear them. It's one prospect to wear them going to the shops or, as we have to when we're off camera here at work. But exercising them is slightly different. Have you tried to exercise in a mask yet?
I have, Graham, and it's difficult. It's harder to breathe. It really does make exercising tricky. I mean, compared with normal breathing, wearing any kind of protective mask is going to decrease the flow of air into your lungs. And with less air, your body's got less available oxygen to pump around to working cells, which obviously your body uses to convert food to energy. So if you find yourself huffing and puffing, as I have, while walking or running along a seamlessly easy path, you shouldn't blame it on a sudden drop in your fitness levels. Even those with relatively high fitness levels, like you, Graham, tend to get tired faster when you exercise with a face mask for the very same reason. So, just alleviating a little bit of guilt there.
Thanks for saying that, but after spending the last 6 weeks indoors and our working hours kind of override the exercise time, which doesn't really help. But is it dangerous to exercise with a mask on? When you talk about getting less oxygen in, are there any kind of possible kind of dangers or repercussions?
There aren't any shortcuts to exercising without a mask, so we know that. The good news, in fact, is that your lungs are getting an extra workout while you're wearing a face mask because it's providing extra breathing resistance. So a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, some experts actually compare that to altitude training. Everest, oh, wow. Here we come. And if you're looking for another silver lining, not just Everest, but the more you exercise with a face mask on, the more accustomed your body becomes to that reduced flow of oxygen. And theoretically, you should feel like a bit of a beast when you can finally work out mask free. So there are some upsides to exercising with a mask, no downsides.
Are there ways in your kind of explorations, are there ways that we can feel less restricted wearing the face mask? Are there particular variations, ways that we can wear the mask to make it easier?
Well, I mean, for the greatest comfort during sort of strenuous exercise, I reckon a buff is probably your best bet. I mean, buffs are made from thin synthetic fabrics. You can, almost see through them. And they're designed to reduce heat buildup. And since they're open at the bottom, they promote more airflow than your standard surgical masks, which is nice. But keep in mind, because of that open kind of lead in the air design, they also present less of a barrier to the outflow or influx of germs that surgical masks, obviously, or their homemade equivalent, do. So surgical masks may block microbes more effectively, but they tend to be hot and sweaty, which means it's more likely you'll pull them down or off, obviously defeating the purpose of wearing a mask in the first place, and you're touching your face all the time. So if I'm going to exercise, I generally wear a buff.
While I'm at it, seeing as you clearly have thought about this from a couple of different angles and put it to the test, have you come up for anything, maybe any ideas for someone who wears glasses to avoid the fogging up with that hot air being channeled?
Yeah, what the fog, man. It's I mean, the struggle is real. Firstly, it's important to make sure your mask has a good fit, all right? But masks that are kind of loose around your nose allow warm, wet air to flow upwards, and that's what causes the fogging, especially if your glasses sport very large lenses and frames that, rest sort of snugly against your cheeks. But here's the little hack for you. You can reduce any misting or fogging of your lenses by washing those lenses with soapy water before you slip on your mask. Just don't wash it with too much soap, because then you get that eye burn and you're going to have watering eyes, to boot. So a little bit of soap and water on those lenses should prevent any misting or fogging. Same sort of thing if you've got a mirror in the shower, bit of a layer of soap on that and it won't fog up.
I think to get real, yeah.
Oh, at 6 in the morning too, man. Wow.
Well, maybe there's another added benefit. It helps to keep you slightly warmer during the winter months. How often should we be washing our washable masks? Obviously not the disposable kind, but those that we are wearing repeatedly, how often do we need to wash them?
So Graham, your mask should be washed every time you finished using it, every time. So machine washing is obviously best for fabric masks and at the highest temperature possible that your mask can handle. I mean, studies looking at the SARS virus, that's the virus before Corona, found that it dies quickly at temperatures around or above 60 degrees, so that's a good option. In fact, another good option too, because of that temperature sensitivity, is to iron your mask once it's dry.
Oh, wow.
For those of us who only have hand washing as an option, I'd say lather your mask with soap and water, scrub it for at least 20 seconds, as long as you scrub your hands when you wash your hands with warm to as hot water as possible, and then air dry it in the sun. But to your first question, yeah, wash your mask often and all the time.
Buddy, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time to really think about this and as I say, look at it from a number of angles. And most importantly, keep exercising, keep fighting the good fight, my friend, regardless of how difficult it could be wearing the mask. I think having the exercise to offset the frustration of being in lockdown is a very important tool, something you've covered in the past before. So hopefully we've helped people in some small way to keep that going. But stay safe, my friend. We'll connect again with you soon.
Of course, Graham. Thanks for the chat, man. And don't forget, exercise also boosts that immunity, so it makes you a little bit more stronger and resilient towards coronavirus. We'll chat soon, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Well, there you have it. Whatever your choice, whether you're going to go for a buff or you're going to run with a full-on surgical mask, you can make it slightly easier on yourself just by knowing that doing that kind of training, with it being a little bit more difficult, you're also training your lungs to take in a little less oxygen. You're toughening yourself up. You're making yourself a little bit stronger and fitter in the process. But I think the big take-home here is go and do the exercise. Take the time, take the trouble. It's going to help to improve your immune system, and it's going to help you feel a lot better at the end of the day.